Hey guys, Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto. We're looking here at a Toyota Town Ace camping car, and these are quite interesting vehicles. It's a small industrial truck chassis and then a pop top camper on the back, but overall it's a very small package and makes for a really neat little tiny camper. So this was bought from auction here in Japan for export to the USA. It does have some issues here and there, but as a whole, the vehicle doesn't scream anything that is terrible. You'll see there is water down there, and I'll explain that in just a second. But first off, let's look over this. So it has a 2-liter diesel engine. This was in 1989 with 66,548 kilometers on it. It's an auction grade 3 with an interior C. And here's the report from the inspector. Let's have a look. Interior is dirty and has wear. Seat is saggy and ripped. Actually, the rip is in the passenger seat, which is weird. Usually it is always in the driver's seat. And then it's right here. See? And you can't see it unless you're pressing down. So you would be able to fix that fairly easily. Otherwise, I don't see any rips in it. It does have 3 seat belts in the front and then multiple other ones in the back. I didn't check to see how many, but according to the registration, it is an 8-seater. I don't know if you would really want 8 people in this, but I suppose it would be possible. Okay, door mirror scratched and shaky. And so it looks like this one's shaky. They put some tape on just to secure it when it was traveling. It doesn't look like it will fall off, but it is taped for good measure. So exterior has paint fade and surface rust. Camping kit, like the camping part of it, has some pieces missing, possibly. Underside has some surface rust. Rear tank is dented. Dashboard has a TV mounted to it and screwed on. You can actually see that through there with the wing nuts on it. And headliner comes down. Okay, so the body here has a big dent on the roof. You can actually see it when the roof is in the up position. It doesn't really worry me that much because the vehicle is so tall that nobody would be able to see that. S1 means rust here and rust here. And a big dent here, then some scratches on the side here, and cracks on the back with a cracked tail light. Okay, so these aren't super common vehicles from auction in Japan, but they do have them every once in a while. Buying a camper, especially one from auction, is a bit of a risk, but you do get them for quite a reasonable price compared to a dealer car. Whenever we put up camping car videos, we always get a lot of emails and not an awful lot of sales, and the reason for that is because it really has to be the right type of person to buy a camper from Japanese auction, because you get very little information about the vehicle, and most people who are going to be buying a camper for themselves, they want to make sure that they have the most amount of information about the vehicle before they purchase it. And so it's a very high contrast day, and so the camera's going to make things dark a bit. Okay, so the pop-up top has beds inside, and I will get to the interior, I guess, halfway through this. Typically, and I love this, people watch these videos and then they'll post the timestamp for where the interior is. If you do that, you're going to get a heart from me because I love you. So the Town Ace, you can get them in gasoline and diesel. You can get them in 4-wheel drive or 2-wheel drive. This one's a 2-wheel drive model, which I suppose is less desirable, but it is also less expensive, and for most people, you don't really need the 4-wheel drive. Okay, so about the coolant. You sit on top of the engine, and I don't know why, but a lot of people in the comments go, oh, you sit on top of the engine, just wait until that engine blows up and you're going to get damaged. You're not going to get damaged. There's like a full firewall in between you and the engine in the exact same way as when there's a full firewall between your legs and the engine this way when their engine is in front, and so you're not going to get damaged when something happens. Take a look here, and you'll see that all the coolant that's leaking seems to be coming out of the, can't really see it very well because of the contrast, but out of this one here. The seal on this is broken, and so it leaks coolant out by the looks of it. I can't guarantee, and I will take a look at it in just a little bit, but that's what I noticed when we received the vehicle. It was about 1 liter down on coolant. I put some water in there, and then now it's coming out again, and so it looks like when the coolant heats up, it's able to leak through that gasket that's basically ripped to shreds there. Okay, so the oil was also low, and so when you receive the vehicle, you're going to want to check that. You could, if you want, get that fixed here in Japan before the vehicle ships. But you do want to be very careful about the coolant in these, because the 2-liter diesel engine really doesn't like to overheat that much. Okay, so damages. Let's go around the vehicle and check out the damages. First off was the S1 here and here. And so a little bit of corrosion there. And a little bit of corrosion there. Also the rain gutters going up both have roughly the same amount of corrosion on them. Or I guess you would consider that surface rust. There isn't corrosion on it. And you got a little bit of rust down here. I'll just show you this one over here as well. So really this just needs to be painted with a rust sealing paint. I don't think that you would have to worry about the corrosion growing there. You do have to worry about here, so I'd grind those out and then repaint them. Now the vehicle as a whole is going to need to have a repaint because it's quite badly faded. Here's the AU3 on the front, which is the largest size dent and scratch. Oh, I thought a car was coming, going to run me over. But it turned out it was just a bunch of leaves blowing toward me. Okay, so there's the dent. It has an awning up here. I really quite like these extra windows right there. It's very cool. And then this is all faded pretty badly. I'll show you a good example of it. If you come around, see here? It's sort of like a cracked look. So that's on multiple areas of the car. Camping car? Camper. In Japan they call them a camping car, even though they're not really cars anymore when they're trucks. Okay, so some damage there on the rear bumper and on the other side here. Okay, here's the external power outlet, so if you want to plug it into your campsite you can. And this is where you put the water in for the sink, or put it in, take it out. The tent on the top has no rips, and inside doesn't smell like anything bad. In fact, I know almost for a fact it was owned by a fisherman, and it doesn't smell like fish inside, which is good because nobody wants a fishy camper. Here's the A3 on the side. Okay, and then has some paint chips and stuff along here as well. That's a little bit of surface rust today. The underside appears to be quite good. I'll give you a quick look. There's surface rust on it, but there's no signs of corrosion or anything. Okay, and I'll just shut the engine off here. Just give you a quick look. 66,553 kilometers on there, and then no warning signs or overheat problems. Just going to turn it off because I don't want to leave it running when it is leaking the coolant like that. Okay, so we will go into the interior now, I guess. Yeah. So it has the original door card plastic bits on there, which is very cool. They are damaged though, with some rips in them. And then this one here, sitting on the floor over here. And so that's going to need to be glued in place. Quick note, this vehicle isn't for sale. It has already been bought, and this is the post-purchase inspection. Typically I'll explain that a little bit earlier in the video, but I think I forgot about it this time. And so the service that we offer is to purchase vehicles on behalf of the clients. And some of the clients allow us to show you their vehicles after we buy them. So this one comes with an automatic transmission. We've probably exported about 5 of these same models before, and this is the first one that I've seen with an automatic. Usually they come with a manual. The power steering works very well, the shifting is very good, and suspension, throttle, brakes, those things all work very well. The auction sheet should have mentioned this, but the AC doesn't work. And so the blower fan works, but the AC isn't actually cold that's coming out. Have a look. We have tackle. Japan is known for their high quality tackle, but these ones look like they were handmade. So there's that one. Be careful not to hook yourself on it. And here is the lure that I have never seen before, this style with so many ways to catch the bad guys. I mean the fish. And that's quite a high high tensile string. It looks like a 100-foot pound. I don't know. I don't know anything about fishing. Don't judge me. Place for the monitor here. A little computer here that doesn't seem to work. Okay, rubber floor mats, which are good. All right. And then this, you can sit on the hump here if you want. There is a seat belt for it. And headliner here is a little bit saggy, like they said. Look up in here. Okay, so let's go to the interior section now. And it is quite small in there, but nicely you can stand up in basically all areas of the camping section. This attaches on here. And as long as nobody's trying to drive by, we should be okay. Had to change the battery also because the battery was bad. There's the old battery there. Actually, today was a 2 battery day. There are 2 cars that needed a new battery. Now it works fine when starting it up. Okay, so let's go up. And here is the layout. Oh, let's flip that table down. So for ease of putting away, it's a hinged table. You could switch that to another style table if you want, because it's a fairly standard style pop-out center pillar type table. So there's curtains between the driving area and the passenger area, and then you get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as your main seats. There is a seat on the other side, but it's missing the back cushion there. So have a look. It's also been customized with some special foil-like sheeting. I don't know what that's all about. And then right here is just a fold-out table that happened to be in the car. It wasn't cleaned out very well by the person who traded it in. Typically you'll see this quite often with campers, is the dealers don't want to clean them up and try to resell them. They send them back to auction, and then whoever likes campers buys them and spends a lot of time cleaning them up. And that's typically why you will see prices so different between dealers and auctions, is because it takes a lot of work and there's a lot more risk with a camper, especially with as many electronics like the fridge, in many cases a toilet, water pump, burner, that sort of thing. So the burner has been removed. Here's the sink, and this goes down if you want to flip it down. It doesn't have a cover on it and then has been taped with electrician's tape. Might be a good idea to just replace that sink. Fridge down here looks like it's okay. This little lock here. Okay. It is really nice being able to fully stand up in it. Electrical outlet for your cigarette lighter adapter or your AC. There are questions about, does this work with North American standards? And the answer is yes. It is slightly different voltage, but I've done it both ways, having a wife that's from Japan, using Japanese electronics in Canada and Canadian electronics in Japan, and I've never had an issue between the 110 volt to the 100 volt because it's less than a 10% difference, or maybe exactly a 10% difference. Refrigerator. Cool. Okay, so let's have a look in the cupboards. Here's some electronics, and they didn't clean any of this out, so you can get some secret hidden things like bungee cord and coffee stirrer. Multiple things. Ooh, you can plug in more stuff. I probably wouldn't use this in a camper because, I don't know, maybe I'm worrying about something you don't need to worry about. Yes, look at all that non-cleaned out garbage by the auction. And then we buy the vehicles from the auction. We send them out without doing any of the work on it. If you really want work done on the cars, then we can get another company to do it, but that's not what we do. Now for bed-wise, typically you would, up here, you would get a number of little boards that you can stack on top of each other to give you proper headroom, or you can just remove them completely if you don't want to be sleeping up here. But the tent all the way around is not ripped. It doesn't smell moldy. Big window with a cover there if you want to cover it. It doesn't have big side windows. It has vents here, which you get a little bit of light in, but not that much. And then they're on gas struts holding it up, and they seem to work properly. And then there's no clamp style system to make sure that it doesn't come down, but the gas struts seem to work fine enough. Okay. There's this, and this one here goes underneath this whole couch, and then for your second bed you would take this piece here and you would put that here, and then you take this piece and put it underneath the table, and typically you would have another piece that goes together with it, but I don't think that piece that's missing is part of what turns this into a bed, because you wouldn't need any more pieces once you put this one into here. There's also a free stool, and underneath here there's a box of other goodies, like rope joint. Cool. Okay, windows open by sliding, and then there are no screens on the windows, but both of those windows open properly. I think I hear a car coming. Maybe not. Well, that's basically everything for the interior there. I'm gonna unlatch this, and I'm gonna go take a better look at that coolant system to make sure that it is leaking from there. The gasket was bad enough for it to leak, but it may be leaking from somewhere else. By the look of it, it's leaking faster than it looked like it was from the top, so we'll have a look at that, send it to a shop most likely, and that's going to be the end of this review. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.